Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of myself, on behalf of my producer Vasily Krysoho. We are going to be doing a live discussion of Attila Attacks the movie, and joining us today is Yanni Gerasulis, who played Plato, and Vasily Zorba, who played Dimitri Papas in Attila Attacks. So we're watching the film right now, and we're going to be commenting as you're watching this film with us here. So Vasily, let's talk about the scene. You play Attila, of course, and this is Vasily Krysoho. We have two Vasilis, so we got to be a little on the mark here. And this is in northern Cyprus in 1974, this scene.
Hey George, hi everyone. Yes, this is the beginning of our movie, Attila Attacks, and we start off in northern Cyprus, where Attila plans a revolution. But what's going to happen, we're going to find out soon, if it succeeds or not.
Yes, so this is a very interesting and unusual film. Billy and I started developing originally a sitcom back in 2001, and then it kind of just spilled over into doing this film, which was actually supposed to be kind of a pre-pilot to the sitcom. That's originally how this whole idea emerged. And
it began as a short trailer, and we already shown you this in the Greek and Russian club a little while ago, and then eventually from the trailer we made a long-term feature film.
That's right. It was originally supposed to be a short film of about half hour long in black and white. And then it was a feature film which we thought we were going to get wrapped. Well, at least that's what I put forward in about 3 months. So it took about 5 years instead.
So George is basically doing everything: camera, producing, directing, acting. I'm doing the two roles of Attila and the Greek character Zeus. And now we're going to see Vasily Zorbas, who is our other protagonist, Dimitri Papas.
Dimitri Papas, yeah.
I'm a proud Greek American.
So Kyrio Zorba, you remember filming these scenes?
Oh yes, I remember the cold. It was freezing out there. I don't know why I was wearing that spring jacket there. It was, yeah, I mean, especially that specific scene right here. You know, supposedly I was looking for my way around campus right there, and yeah, it was really, really cold. I enjoyed this scene.
This scene...
Yeah,
was filmed in 2004. This whole film was filmed in over the course of 5 years. So a lot of shots that you see were filmed, could be filmed years apart in some cases. This is Alexander Ikaris, who's playing Professor Philokolo. It's actually a name that I came up with, knowing what little Greek I did at the time. And this is Greeks will know what that means. And here's Mr. Zorba here.
Yeah.
This empire was rather interesting, but...
So this was interesting. We got all of our friends. This was filmed on Super Bowl Sunday in 2004, and we got all of our friends, everybody we knew, to populate this auditorium. And so we have like Russians and Greeks.
Right.
And here we have our youngest member here, who wasn't alive at that time, wasn't even a glimmer in her father's eye. And that's Vasily's brother.
My brother, yeah.
Andreas.
Drifted away to their own little world.
Nice white hat.
Today, I want to talk about a concept called paranoia.
Now, those of you who don't know how films are made, there are different ways of making a film, and one of the ways of recording sound was to record sound while we're filming. Here, what happened was a lot of times these people would come in later to actually redub their vocal tracks because it was easier to film the sound to record the sound that way. I didn't have to worry about a lot of details. So everybody would come and dub their lines. And that's another actor, George, who came and. I remember he was perplexed by all the dubbing, and he did a great job, but he said, oh my god, I don't ever want to dub again, it's really involved. And that's one of the reasons why the film took a long time.
It's like double the work.
Pretty much.
But you had to do everything all over again. Redo the whole scene over again just for dubbing.
But it was a great way to improve performances sometimes, and it was really fun too.
You can be very creative when you dub.
One of John's relatives there too.
Yeah, we have a lot of family and friends here. That's the way it is on a low-budget movie. You're always, using everything you have at your disposal.
This is a very important scene when you hear it separately.
Well, this is a great scene because it sets up the core of the conflict here. You have Professor Philokolo, who is basically a traitor, and here what's happening is that he's revealing that he's a person who's Greek, but he at the same time
he has an agenda.
Has an agenda, and it's very anti-Greek. And later on, we learn why that's happening.
And with current politics right now, what's happening in Greece? We might as well just had filmed this about a few months ago. It still has the same meaning the same almost topics. Nothing has changed. So
Absolutely.
Which one?
traders
Oh, I don't remember the name. The happiest cargo.
are always around.
Which place? You're making fun.
Yeah, this is what's interesting to note here too, by the way, is that there are a lot of actors who will have somebody else dubbing their voiceover, because a lot of times what happened was that we couldn't, the actors could be too busy, or I wanted to get a little different effect. And that's what was interesting about this, what's called the looping process, is that I was able to get some different effects from actors, and actually I ended up dubbing a bunch of people, and Yanni here also dubbed a few people, and we all kind of, and Billy too, and we all kind of just double, tripled up on the voices a lot of times, which was interesting.
Well, thank God that we didn't have to double these people the whole.
Are you kidding me?
That's one thing. Imagine they all had lines.
Yeah, I just imagine.
This is one of the first shots we actually did of the film. This is before the script was even completed, and we filmed this in Manhattan. We filmed this in Manhattan, and this was actually, it was a very interesting story how this shoot took place, because we showed up to film, and we were in the subway, and all of a sudden people that some of us knew were bumped into us, and they didn't know what we were up to because we had all this stuff with us, and we didn't want to tell anybody that we were filming the movie. So I remember Billy Vasily Zorba here. What did you tell them we were doing?
Actually, you know something? I was at that point. I was really surprised to see a former colleague on the train. So I didn't want to leak out the information. So I was like, I said what came to my mind at that time, that we were going to some party.
And he said it exactly like that, laughing.
Okay, guys, here's where I come in finally.
Oh, this is filmed. This is your sister there.
Yes.
This is filmed. That footage, the video footage, was filmed in August 2002. Yeah.
So
I did not know about this part, but I liked it.
John's character is a young politician.
Who knew absolutely nothing about politics in reality.
Yeah.
I wrote it myself.
This is a great scene. George Dellis here playing against Yanni. Don't mind that. That's the radiator, by the way. And here what's happening is that, John is showing his kind of political amateur character here against this experienced politician who knows how to play the system very well.
Plato, John's character, he has ambition. Right, John? You have a lot of your ideologists.
I do have an ideology, obviously, I want to promote, but I am very inexperienced, obviously, in this film with being a politician, because I probably had little or no experience at all.
You say your character was like a dreamer, or he was like a pragmatist? Pragmatist, yes. Where he's a dreamer.
Well, maybe a little bit of both, I would say, because he definitely probably had he had a dream which is out of his realm.
So he probably went into the wrong political sphere, I guess, and then he's gonna realize that he has to do things a little bit differently.
Hold portraits up of the mass.
Yeah, it was.
So this scene right here just shows
celebration of culture. Huh?
I think this was your scene where, this is where your character kind of gets introduced, and
pretty much.
I forgot exactly when we filmed this, but Yanni had never acted in a film before or anything like that, and I have to commend him for his bravery for attempting the role. And we kind of drew you into it, honestly, but
hey, I think he excelled in the end. Look at it. The performance is very stellar. It's good for him.
And George Dellis here is also never acted really before. He's actually a real politician who has a lot of experience. But I'm doing his voice here because George was so busy that it was very difficult to get him to come dub. So I actually ended up doing this kind of half Godfather voice with George here. And here's a very interesting sticker about northern Epirus, the part of Greece that is a conflict between Albania and Greece over this territory. And
we discussed our issues, minorities. This place had an autonomous region that lost its autonomy. So yeah, we touch a little bit about everything that Greeks and others can connect with.
That was one of the challenges of the film, because there was a lot of stuff we wanted to put into it, and it was difficult to get it to, because we wanted to make this film about our cultures, about how we, all of the national issues that our people face, all the problems we face in the United States. And and again, here's that big challenge: idealism versus pragmatism. And there's a nice cigar that gets destroyed in the process.
And I had to do that pretty much in one shot because I don't think I had any more cigars.
There was a very nice attorney, Kimon, who let us film in his office, and that was.
Now here's Dimitri if he's trying to.
Oh yeah, this is filmed in my late grandmother's apartment. She had just passed away at that time, and we were clearing out his apartment. So we filmed this. This place doubled for several locations actually. And here's Vasily Zorba here.
Trying to be an educated.
Yeah, being a teacher, and Vasily is an actual teacher, so he understood this role very well. I think
And it's just that it's kind of like interesting because Dimitri right there. I mean, telling the student that read all those chapters and do all those exercises. That's very I mean, those who are into teaching, you don't actually do that. If you really want to help your student, just tell them to do all the exercises. To say so.
No?
Yeah, it's not really too conducive to learning. Apparently, he wanted to get out of the Smiths because he didn't like that particular student that much.
Well, this student was the nice one. This was Irina, who played the Serbian character here.
Yeah, apparently Dimitri really fell for her for some reason, or trying to put his moves on her in a clumsy way, at least.
Well, at least this is private tutoring. It's not actually a public education system because it would be inappropriate behavior.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I remember actually, Mr. Zorba and I had discussed all the various issues of tutoring and stuff like that. So I was able to, and I was actually dating a girl that was a tutor at the time, so I was able to get a little bit of insight into that world there with that. And the man in the hat, by the way, is also Vasily Zorba playing. So
playing against myself.
He's arguing with himself.
He's arguing with himself in that shot. Yeah.
Okay, how many times are we gonna fold that napkin there?
Here's Philippe Sohos's father here playing the Macedonian cab driver.
Yes.
The Greek Macedonian cab driver.
That's right. That's right.
It's in Billy's neck of the wood.
Yeah. My old neighborhood.
Yeah, that's right in front of your house too.
Yeah. Would you believe it?
Some of our other actresses there.
First, I need the bank.
Yes. It's amazing how much Billy's dad and him look alike.
I guess we didn't go far.
Signaling the wrong way.
Yeah,
movie magic.
Yeah, you realize you're signaling the right towards the sidewalk?
Well, no, we did because he had to pull over there.
in now.
But no, it was great because Billy's dad knew how to drive very well, and he really looked great in the job of a cab driver.
He was for a while a Greek school bus driver.
Exactly right, so he knew how to do it. Now here's an interesting moment. This is the other Macedonia.
Oh yes.
The former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia cab, which Attila is in. And you can see that's the flag with Josip Broz Tito's face in there.
I honestly had forgotten.
And here's the whole conflict over the Macedonia name. So
You gotta know.
I don't speak no English.
the history here is Macedonia is Greek. That's
You need
right.
to know the history.
That's the whole point. Attila offends everything about Hellenism and everything. So this is a Serbian club that we filmed in Ridgewood here outside of. And it was very cold that day. I remember, I think my camera's battery broke down. And because, again, we were filming in the summer. In the winter, we were trying to get scenes to match. It was very difficult.
Oh yes.
And this was a tough moment because, Irina had to be wearing very, light kind of clothing. And it was pretty cold.
Are you Serbian?
There we go.
Yes. And you?
There's another Serbian girl that narrated, that did the dubbing for Irina. She did a very good job.
Oh boy.
So here we are. Here's Billy getting out of the car, and there's Eric Adams and
I just love the way they walk up
George
to the
Selinsky,
victim.
say hi.
I know, and they just
This is like
tippy toe. Here I am being all nonchalant.
no, the way they crunch towards the floor, like
Listening to the voice of Hellenism. This is Zeus.
And this is my cousin's car, which he inherited from his grandfather, which was half falling apart at the time. And this is a lovely part of a story to be filming under the train station. I think everybody loves that elevated. And look at the difference in costume. Here he is wearing shorts.
Okay,
The best scene.
one week later,
I put on more pounds there.
1 week later, went from winter to summer.
Wait, so technically we filmed Astoria and Atlantic City here, right?
Yeah, well, that's all next to each other.
LIC.
For me, it was always one
I don't
neighborhood.
think I'd be able
Anyway.
to catch that, George. Don't worry.
Yeah. There's Daphne
This is
Manusa, who's a
actually
professional
first
actress. She was a professional actress. There are a lot of people here who never acted before, but she was a professional actress, and she joined us and was very patient with us as we were
Very cold.
Try to keep up with her.
Yeah, we were trying to keep up with her. Yeah, she would always know her lines. Not all of us here knew our lines. And she was an extraordinary patient. She later on went on to Greece and became pretty well known there in the theater circuit. And here we are filming in the Aldo's Democratic Club, and we have a lot of. This was a very.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is our first. This is one of the first like real serious scenes that we filmed in the movie. I remember back in 2002.
Here's your prize.
Oh,
Get
goodness.
10 days to claim it.
And
It took a while to set that up in there, actually.
yeah, well, this wasn't one of the more complicated sets, but there's a lot of interesting things on the walls if you take a look. There's an axe. There's there's a lot of Greek stuff here. There's the Apollo and Daphne statue, which is interesting because Daphne's the actress's name is Athena in the film, but
Her real name's Daphne.
Her real name's Daphne, so that's kind of an interesting pun there.
Daphne and Apollo in the statue.
Yeah, these are old television sets, pre flat screen, and there's Panayoti Argyris, who's playing Dr. Susanos here, doing his own TV show.
Guys, I'm gonna log go for now. You guys keep on watching our movie, and then and the live right now. Well, we're gonna be live.
We're gonna be
later
live
on
for
in the
it,
evening,
yes.
about an hour and a half. So see you soon.
And here's our one of our Romanian actors here, and I kind of did a composite as if he was in Romania. I did a little bit of movie magic there with green screen. And I remember one problem we had. This is a T-shirt, by the way, that Billy designed. You'll see it later on in another scene. And here we go. Here's Christopoulos playing the Chechnyan Shamil, who's involved with Attila and his whole terrorist network. And here they are doing nefarious activities, stealing something from a power plant, and it's all caught on camera by the Russian reporter who later on enters the film.
Is Attila, a Turkish renegade that started his...
I realized that throughout the film, people, some people would lose weight, some people put on weight.
Some people's
It's kinda
sideburns would
like,
grow.
yeah, so in terms of continuity, we had an issue there, but it's. You can really bypass it because this was filmed over.
So we discussed the Grey Wolves. I'm sorry, Billy. Here we discussed the Grey Wolves, which are central key point in this story. They're a terrorist organization in Turkey. Attila leads.
And there, by the way, the Chechnyan terrorists too. You see the flags and everything there too. And these are all integrated into this whole crazy terrorist organization, which is kind of scary because we ended up kind of forecasting what happened later on with
everything is based
with
off,
ISIL.
of facts and actual political information, stuff that happened in real life in the news.
Where he can find some shelter.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
It was off the headlines, and it still wasn't the headlines, just different names now, these terrorist groups.
Yeah, but it's the same concept. It's something that didn't go away.
And also the civil war between ourselves as well. That
The conflicts that we have between each other.
and the conflicts with Greeks, with other Greeks, and their different ideas. Religion.
Yeah, and one of the things too is like even with the Romanians too, like Russia and Romania have had some rocky relations, and that's later on also mentioned in the Romanian anti-terrorist task force scene where you see there's a Georgian there, and there's all these other peoples that we have a lot in common with, but also have conflict with. So that's one of the themes that shows up in the film. And that, by the way, is Billy's brother Pericles there playing Diner Dim. I think it's a very good character. I think he should come back in other films.
Yeah, what we touch upon is why these issues happen and how we can resolve them.
I mean, we don't have obviously all the solutions, but this is a good.
We give ideas.
It starts asking questions, the right questions. Yes.
Food for thought.
That power plant no longer exists there.
This is a song from Panagiotis Karousos, one of his operas. It's a classical piece.
So that's the car.
Just like 15 years later, like a lot of these places are not even around anymore.
Actually, half the places are not around, including the power plant.
Yeah, exactly. That's Alexandra. That little girl just got married recently.
People are married with kids.
Yeah, so this is a real retrospective.
Cars that no longer, are extinct.
Yeah, and technology that's extinct. This is pre-smartphones, everybody. So Attila would definitely have a smartphone.
Oh yes,
that would be a central character in the
You're
film.
right.
Very interesting.
Cell phones were just like
beginning.
Big blocks of plastic.
blocks. Like you barely even text at
The internet was like shady.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
There was
good.
no internet on the phones 15 years
There
ago.
were.
There were internet.
A little,
not on the
but it
phones,
was
but
bad.
internet.
Well,
You had to pay a lot of money.
Primitive ones.
Yeah.
Hey, there are still Honda Accords and Honda Civics today. That's one thing that hasn't changed. So here, Alexandra here is talking about how basically it's a hint at how all of these all these things are being, all of these terrorists are kind of infiltrating into even the public school system and stuff like that. It's not something that we really got to develop too far. That's one of the weaknesses, that the script wasn't too tight in that regard. So it was a little bit more, we had to kind of string things along because the script was being rewritten during the filming and everything. So it was a little bit difficult sometimes to be coherent. But the narration really helped pull it together. Here's Vlad. This is the white emigre Russians. These are Russians these are descendants of Russians who left Russia during the Revolution and Civil War. And they're basically here in the United States, and this is the group of people that I come from, and so basically that's one of the interesting things about this film. It's my community meets Vasily Klisohoz's community, and how, because that's how basically the two of us met. And this film kind of is representative of that. These two communities who have things in common, and how we got together.
So it's a Greco-Russian production.
Absolutely.
It's based around all our lives, but especially from the Russians, it's based around George's family, life, friends. And then from us, who were the Hellenic Front, me, John, and Vasily, we just merged the ideas and the stories that we grew up with, and we made this movie.
I just love how you stop and just smell the flower.
It was a funny scene. Attila is kind of like an anti-hero. I kind of saw him as my Darth Vader.
The bad side.
The bad side, yeah. I wanted him to be, cool and interesting, but not to be like too interesting.
You need some sensitive, tones there.
He's quirky. He's like Gaddafi a little bit, right? We modeled him after Gaddafi. He wants to be a rock star. As a harem.
Yeah, it was very interesting how that all came together, because Billy wasn't intending to play the character at all in the beginning. When we did the trailer, I just badly needed someone to play Attila, and I was like, okay, Billy, I got to operate camera, so you got to do it. But then to his credit, he really got behind the role. He really did it very nicely, and I'm very happy, because that's what gave it that unique flavor.
And I was always around George.
Yeah, and he was always available to film, being that he was the producer. He was
we used my living room for all the props and everything in your living room.
It was kind of not hard to get a hold of him. Yeah. There's all this. By the way, all those paintings in the back, that's all my mother's work. She did various Russian plays, Russian cultural exhibits, so that just all got recycled into the movie there.
That's right.
And these are all these kids here. They were kids back then. They were all from my parish that I go to, and this was all filmed right by. This is their, some of their houses and stuff like that. So, again, when you're doing an independent film, it's all hands on deck. You just take everything you have and you put it on the table. It's kind of like, potluck dinner type of stuff, and that's how it all came together.
And the movie is not just us versus them or anything like that. We have obviously ideas that come across and point of views, but the evil guys, they all have their problems amongst themselves. The good guys, they have their problems. We don't just say it's just us against them. We make them real.
A lot of us put a very scary look.
Yeah,
a very scary look.
I'm telling you, just seeing it like.
An old trackball mouse, an old computer.
Yeah, the technology does crack me up. It's kind of also nostalgic.
It's only 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but technology develops very fast.
That's a nice scene. Oh.
Oops.
So this is interesting. This is when you finally get an insight into Attila's lair here, which is full of weapons and all this other stuff. And there's Hristo again playing the Chechnyan Shamil, putting together an AK, which is the weapon of choice in Chechnyks. They all have Russian weapons that they've stolen.
It's Mr. Jose Eric Adams.
As a wrestler, professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Here's me watching.
Peter Hagidis.
Now, this footage here that you're about to see was actually filmed in Cyprus. It was filmed in, I believe it was filmed in Nicosia, not far away from the UN-mediated
it's on the green line, actually.
The green line, right.
The divided line.
And this actor, Yanni Kokino, he was from Cyprus, and he went to, he was one of the first guys we actually auditioned. Originally, we thought he was going to be good for Play-Doh, but then I was like, oh, this is perfect. Gets a guy like this to play this head of the Hellenic Space Program, which is also another prophetic thing. Apparently, there is a Hellenic Space Program now.
Now there is.
Yeah, maybe they saw this film and picked up on that. But
we even made up in Astoria College, which unfortunately never happened. But Ditmar's power plant. Well, it's kind of Edison, but it's as close as you get.
And here you get all the cheesy '90s effects there. But yeah, this is actually filmed in Cyprus, and it was his idea to do it too. I remember he read the script and he's like, you know what, I'm going to be there, so why don't I just film it? So he got his brother to help him out.
It's an international film.
Yeah, there's more than one country here, as you'll see later on. This is all filmed in my basement.
It's another great character.
Yanni kind of forgot to mention that he's a brilliant actor. Brilliant actor. We saw him at the Hellenic Theater group here in Queens. And Billy approached him, and we were very fortunate that he agreed, because he's a brilliant actor. We kind of met him later on in the film too. We met him around 2004, and that's when we started working with him. But what a talented guy, and how much I'd love to work with him again. He was just such a wonderful actor.
So this is the part of Attila wants to a concert.
His musical side, that's right. Another side Billy was able to connect with.
He wants to be a musician. You can't just make a one-sided villain. They have to have different interests.
I just love how you kept your mouth all puffy.
The cotton balls. Yes. Billy has to have cotton balls in his mouth. And
Marlon Brando used cotton balls in The Godfather to make him look good.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
It took about it was at least 20 minutes to do your makeup and on top of the costume afterward. That mustache had to be glued onto him.
We're so poor we couldn't afford a professional mustache.
Hagar was a funny character.
Hagar, Hagar, yeah. Well, what was great about Yanni was he had this killer laugh, which was amazing. It sounded good.
You can see it right now.
But it was very hard for him to dub the laugh, because it's very hard to reproduce a natural laugh, and so we had to, when we were dubbing with Yanni, it took quite a few takes to get the laugh, because his laugh on the set is just inimitable. It's just absolutely amazing, and he got pretty close in the dubbing with it. But yeah, very difficult to reproduce something like that when you have to do it later.
Laugh on cue, George.
Yeah. So here Hagar is telling Drakon here. This is where we see Drakon's dark side, that he's involved with these guys.
Is this the blackmail scene or something?
Yes, this is blackmail. Yes. And he's basically, telling him that, it's it. He got his relative pregnant, so now he's in trouble, and he's got blackmail. So Drakon now has to buckle and do his bidding for him. And they've been involved anyway all along. And again, this is the dark side of politics here. So this is Drakon is showing the.
This is your home country where you were born and raised.
The conflict with America, yes.
I know how you feel about America. Still, I pushed you through as the head of a major federal agency here in New York City. I raised money for your dirty oil business.
Azerbaijan in the oil business.
Standing higher than me. Not enough.
I paid you for everything. Now you gotta pay me. Cousin-in-law.
So here's the whole deal. Here they gotta pay off each other. He's got to pay his debts for him getting his cousin preggers, and this is where he's trying to give him the information. He's trying to, Hagar's insisting on getting a ship and all this other stuff, which is going to be necessary for Attila to return to Turkey and do his revolution there. So.
Hagar told her.
What a demonic laugh.
It was very demonic. Very good.
He's very good.
Very good, yeah.
Start revolution.
It's a professional laugh.
Yeah, it's a professional laugh. This is supposed to be Romania here. And actually, this is interesting because this is all Queens, but it has like a little Eastern European flavor, that little part. So
it's Flushing.
Yeah. That's a Georgian actor. And that's a Lebanese actress. This is like a real pan-Orthodox potpourri. That main actor there at the table on the left is a Romanian guy. This is a Romanian actor.
Did I miss anything?
And this is an interesting. This was filmed in 2006. This is one of the last things we filmed. There's a Greek actress, Athina Konstantis. She actually is interesting because Athina actually came to our audition. She studied a Romanian accent to reproduce it. She does a pretty good job here.
And Elizabeth Dimitriou, the other girl too.
No.
She was a daughter from somebody from the Federation that was there for a long time.
Yeah.
JJ.
Yeah.
Passed away though.
This one?
Her dad, yes.
Oh, her dad,
We would like more information on him.
He's a very big gentleman.
Yeah.
Parades. Journal.
So yeah, a lot of people here that are friends with people who are active in the communities and stuff, and they really were, they played a big part in the film. And
we tried to get characters that are those ethnicities if we could.
Here's Alex, yeah.
Yeah, like here, for example, we have some Greeks doubling as Romanians here. You see the Romanian flag on the lapel there. But this guy was fabulous. He was a really good Romanian actor.
This is when the Romanian anti-terrorist task force tries to find out who exactly Attila and his henchmen are.
You said you positively identified this man here.
Yes, he's known as chemical.
This was filmed in our producer Christo Palatos' apartment.
First time flat panel TVs we used.
Yeah, that was the first time you can get those big flat panel TVs. They cost about $3,000, I think, at the time.
And weighed a ton.
Yes.
Parents hailed from a rich oil country.
So here we're getting backstory on Hagar. We're getting more backstory on Attila now. You're going to see in a minute.
Professor Philokoulos.
Right. This is where we learn more detail about stuff. And this was written afterward because the film was a little bit too loose, and this was necessary to kind of help tie things together with the narration. So that was a real help and made at the film. There's another Romanian actor, Bobby Dumitru, and that's a Russian actress, Natalia Volkodayeva. So this is like a real pan-Orthodox crew here, big time.
And I know we also had an Ethiopian actor, but it didn't make the cut.
Yeah, Nazareth Haybert, I remember. He was a great guy, but it just didn't cut
out the scene enough. Yes,
it was.
We wanted the letter to go by a pigeon.
Yeah, that was a pigeon carrier service that was supposed to bring it over. But,
the idea wasn't thought out too well.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that was too much. This is cool stuff. This was filmed in a park.
A sexy Attila rock video.
Yeah, that's another Greek actress, Julia Fragia. Well, that's not her, but
Jack is Josie Dionysiou.
Yeah, a lot of this is all Greek actresses.
Actually,
pretty much
Greek.
Except, yeah, that's Julia there.
She's a musician too. She's an actress.
There's my Fender Stratocaster.
Ironically, I'm using George's Fender Stratocaster.
Yeah, it's not his own.
Well, I didn't want to take her in the water. Back then, at least.
I had the cheap one, so he got to take the cheap one.
Mine was new then, that's why.
That's right. So here we're talking now about a Bulgarian agent who's going to be, again, we got everybody in here. We got and she's going to later on play a big role in the film, as you'll see.
When we talk about Orthodox Christians and people, it's our Romanians, Bulgarians, Russians, Ethiopians, Syrians. They could be.
Oh, there's Billy's mother.
Oh, there's my mom.
Filmed in your bedroom.
There's a lot of people that are Orthodox. But we try to get as many as possible.
Make sure to hit all the angles.
Mm-hmm. And we also have, the ancient ideas involved too, because we're part of that as well. And with the Orthodox, with the religion, everything can be blended perfectly and harmoniously. Yeah. We are a link on the unbroken Hellenic.
That's where we had our pirate radio station.
Yeah.
Oh, this scene was filmed when it was extremely cold.
It was extremely
cold. I remember that was a problem because again, we started filming, this footage probably was filmed somewhere in October. And, we started filming it in August, and then it was filmed, continued filming through October. And then here, this scene, it was really cold. It was like 20 degrees or something outside. And we were, you'll see the remainder of the scene is filmed in a corridor.
Billy was hot. He was sweating.
Yeah, I just love Billy grabbing the bust. And the first thing he does in panic, he grabs the bust.
So this was filmed here when it was about 20-something degrees outside. And Daphne, in between takes, we had to put a coat on her as I was, preparing the next shot. And here, Dave had the luxury. That's the guy who's playing the guy with the tie there, Dave Dukanic, Russian friend of mine, Carpatho Russian friend of mine. He was playing in a coat, so it was a very difficult scene for poor Daphne to do, and she managed to do it very well.
Great. When I come back to the search warrant for you.
So my character Zeus is a bit of a ham, as you can see.
But I believe it, if I'm correct, because I can't remember exactly the scene, everything in detail, but. It was not done in one shot, I believe, right?
Oh no, this is filmed over
me and Jabbar were not there. With the what's his?
No, you're not.
No. We're not there when you did that.
No.
Well, you're about to come in right now. This is where you're seen.
Yes,
this is where you're about to make your entrance. And this is the one radio sexy scene that we're going to have right now. And well, no, there are others
too.
But this is the most risque scene in the world.
Risque, yeah.
As I like to jokingly call it. In the movie.
It's not obvious.
This is very typical in movies.
Movies, yeah. Oops.
So someone is catching a peek while someone is supposed to change, and there it is, the big moment of skin.
That was it.
Sorry guys, you missed it.
If you blinked, you missed it.
John's wearing an interesting shirt.
Oh yes, tell me about this shirt. What does it say?
Actually, I picked that up in, I believe it was in Greece I picked that shirt.
We're so glad you could come.
It's a foca.
Foka, yeah.
That's Cyprus and the Turkish occupied part in red.
But these are the student organization of it, and actually, a lot of people.
So we gave in Greece. I can't remember, but
I had friends from Foka that were here in New York.
Yeah. Oh, these are the three aspects of Greece. This is Billy's drawing. All of these drawings here are Billy's.
Which actually is hanging on his wall, I believe.
Again, this is uniting all the three aspects of Greece, the ancient all the way through the modern.
Athena.
That one must be the revolution.
Oh yeah.
Here's a smarty pants.
I remember this scene. It took us like 20 takes because
your the expression on your face.
Every time you moved into that,
I would crack up because
you showed your finger,
and that became the cover of the new Porphyra album, my band.
Oh really? Wow.
Here's Billy's T-shirt. Yeah. Here's Billy's T-shirt. He designed this when he was in Queens College.
As the Queens College Icaros Greek Orthodox Club logo.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
It was good times.
You developed these drawings over a course of many years. I remember you told me once it was
Sorry.
when you had this instant inspirations.
Authorities here.
We have a portrait of Ioannis Metaxas in the background.
Well,
one of
they
the
never
great leaders of Greece.
actually issued us a license.
We also have somewhere, I don't know if you see it in these shots, but there's a shot of the Greek activist who was shot when he was trying to cross the border in Cyprus.
Dionysus Solomou.
He's on the wall there on the side. I don't know if we'll see him in the shot. But here's an interesting moment here with Plato's character. This is when Plato finally decides to go renegade and go independent, like he threatened Drakon in the other scene. And here's where he's announcing finally. He meets these pirate radio broadcasters who are very similar to him in spirit, and he decides to it's like the rebels join the rebels, and that's kind of where the story takes us.
And this is where it really gets intense.
This is the confrontation with Philokolos. This is when we finally learn what Philokolos is.
And a love triangle begins.
Yes, and the romantic tension between Zeus and Dimitri there, and Athena. All right.
Oh yes.
Welcome to the show. So what's going on?
So what's going on and what's new?
Well, our society.
I've quoted this so many times.
This is the expression of pain of a lot of Greek Americans and Greeks in general. This desire to whitewash the crimes of the past, and forget about things like genocides and call them something else. This is what's really critical here in this scene. And it's coming from a person who is himself Greek, which is what makes it painful.
And to this day, the Greek government doesn't fully recognize the entire genocide, right?
No, of course. I mean, there's some conflicting views.
There's three genocides: Asia Minor Greeks, the Pontian Greeks, and the ones from Thrace, northeastern Greece, and they're not even united on that issue.
No, they're not. Actually, there was recently there was a conflict on whether the Pontian genocide was actually a genocide or something else, and there was
they were just told to kill
of course, it was a genocide, of course, but it was a huge uproar because there were some voices who were.
They were politely told to kill themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
the Armenians have done very well in academia, books, and cinema with the genocide.
They're more
united.
And that's why they got worldwide recognition. The Armenian genocide.
So Greeks, why are you sleeping? Wake up to recognize the genocide.
Well, I remember when this scene was being filmed, the actors hardly needed any direction because they were all Greeks, and they all kind of seemed to coalesce on this feeling, and it's like it just came out naturally with everybody.
He's a professor.
And remember also, we had to look at a blank screen.
Yeah.
Yes, and pretend
that we were watching this thing.
Just to conjure up all these painful things to get all of it in there. Yeah, that was.
We're talking to a professor that's very twisted, and a lot of the current climate of Greece. There's a lot of people like this now. They believe what Professor Philokoulos preaches.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
We didn't make this up, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And here's a little bit of this is like the public TV aesthetic here. Yeah. So like Shamil here all of a sudden appearing,
for friends that don't know, we have this in New York, public access television, where you get to
anybody can broadcast,
become a producer, and we all. I had a show in public access called.
See, we feel betrayed over here from Dr. Susanos.
Yes,
from Susanos, we feel betrayed here.
That's right. This is where Susanos. You're going to see what happens next because they're wondering why this guy who used to be always on the side of on the right side of all the Greek issues is now all of a sudden has this loser on here. And
back to the public access, I had a show first with some other colleagues on Queen's Public Television, and then with John and Vasily, we formed a radio show, which we I don't know if this came after the movie or before.
It was during the film.
We had our own quote pirate radio, but it was actually on real radio, the Last FM, and we had a show.
Payphones.
Who uses payphones anymore? Unless your
Wow,
cell
they
phone
don't
battery
exist,
died.
Would you believe they've been replaced with
this was a time
Wi-Fi?
travel.
They don't even exist anymore. I've barely been seeing them around.
Well, they're there, but how do you even remember the phone numbers now? That's your sister. That's your sister
That's
there.
my sister making a cameo.
Kostas Psaros, the Bouzouki.
These are great. This is a great scene. We were filming on the subway. You weren't allowed. I had a loud, big 35mm camera, and fortunately, never got in trouble for filming on the subway.
This is Maria Psomas. She actually teaches acting. She's a very successful
coach.
I know, it's just, but I feel like I've known you my whole life, Costa. Do you think? Was it because I'm not from Greece like you? Or is it because I don't make enough money as a waitress to fund your archaeological dig? Or is it because you want to be available for all of your female students in Athens?
You know, scenes like these remind me of these old Greek movies. I mean, you would have this little emotional little outburst by younger girls, and sometimes they go over the top.
George caught the vibe of the Greek old films. We gave him the ideas, and he just.
If this was in black and white, it would have been.
It would have been out of the '60s.
Yeah, '60s, right?
Absolutely. There's our photographer Costa Cavadas sitting there having a frappé.
Christos Cavadas.
Christos.
And it's Kolonaki Cafe, which no longer exists, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a sushi place now.
It's a sushi place. Yes.
No.
Wow. It's sad.
It's a beautiful place. We're on Broadway, obviously.
I like how Costa Psaros came to do the music later on. He didn't actually even know what he was going to play when we were filming this. And then he kind of, when we were sitting there doing it, he just came up with, he riffed on some melodies and did a very nice job on it. Because we wanted original music, we didn't have to worry about getting rights. There's the grapefruit, there's James Cagney. Public Enemy.
A lot of other friends that play extras throughout the film as well, as you can see in the background.
Yeah, we have people we call super extras because they appear like 400 times in different roles. So here we're learning about what's going on with the professor, with Dr. Sousanos here. Why is he putting on this Philokolos guy?
Well, all of a sudden he became from pro-Greek to being controversial.
Right, so this is the explanation. This is the wonderful Astoria skyline from Astoria Park. Here's another talented professional actress, Elsa Tsartsidou. Unfortunately, I couldn't use a lot of the scene because it just became too long. Again, a lot of times, there'd be just this idea for a scene and we'd have to cut it out.
He's just a disgruntled follower that got annoyed that he changed his political point of view all of a sudden.
So here's the ransom video.
Yeah.
We learn that Vlad has now been imprisoned and Attila is holding him hostage, and therefore Sousanos has to do everything possible because he used to work with Sousanos, Vlad. So now Vlad is kind of a hostage here, and Sousanos has to do everything he says, otherwise this guy's finished.
George's bedroom, basement, and my mother's kitchen.
Yes. Billy's mom really did a great job.
This scene looks like he's calling an 800 number.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
I actually even had an idea of putting the number on the screen, but
it's one of my favorite scenes, actually. It's very cool.
Really? It's one of your favorite ones?
Yeah, it was filmed. I mean, the emotions were really there for all of us.
This was a very nice scene, actually. It was very cozy. It was warm.
This was filmed downstairs.
Downstairs, yeah.
Yeah, right from where we're sitting, right.
On actually, it was summer or early.
No, this was fall. This was like October
fall,
or something. I remember this was an October sign.
It was fall. We did some kind of a barbecue
I don't
party.
know how big my medallion was.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
A medallion from the war of 1940. Ioannis Metaxas.
Hello.
This is filmed in my house here. I created like a little sunset effect. I was always obsessed with sunsets, so I'd always try to get a sunset in somewhere. And
I always wondered how Philokolos was dressed here during that scene.
It's like one of those
prior to his gown.
I always had an obsession with kimonos, and I put him in a kimono here because I really badly wanted to have a kimono.
Well, I mean, he is wearing his lipstick, so
we did want to show Attila like the way he would create a harem. It would be of everybody. True to the historical context.
Great scene, though. I'll tell you that.
It's funny with humor.
Yes. This is filmed again. Billy's mom did such a beautiful job at arranging her house and everything. It was a perfect set. You didn't have to do anything. You just came there with the camera, put the lights on, and it was beautiful. And so this is filmed in Billy's bedroom. And I mean, that is the living room. Down,
Look at this.
this was initially a much longer scene. I had to really clip a lot of it, but it had a lot of lines. It was very blah blah blah, and but we did a good job.
sideburns of George.
This was like another time we filmed this. I see myself being a little heavier in the scene.
Yeah,
the previous scenes.
the weight would change from shot to shot,
We get
including my own weight.
the Russian community there.
Yes, this is a Russian cemetery. It's a convent in Rockland County, right? And here's an actual memorial service being served there, which I kind of got into film. And it's funny because Shamil looks like he's dressed in a Catholic robe, which was totally unintentional. That was my robe, and it just looked really funny that he would wear something that was. He figures it's a monastery, so he wears something that's totally wrong instead of an Orthodox monastery. He wears a Catholic. Yeah.
Those druids, yeah.
This is a good friend of mine. He's a historian in Russia, Cyril Alexandrov, and this is where Greece get the sample vodka. So what's interesting about this was that the way this turns out is that we have two Greek guys drinking vodka, and
Was it real vodka?
it was real vodka. I think so. Yes. And what happened was that here you could see Dmitri can't really take it very well. Meanwhile, Susanos can take it perfectly. It was actually the opposite way. I remember Panayoti couldn't stand vodka, and Kyrios Orbach had no problem shooting it down. So we had to kind of do a little bit of a reverse.
Yeah, I actually, so I really had to choke there. I don't know how I did. I got the liquid, somewhere to make me like choke so I can see more.
The proper
real.
way to
It wasn't easy though.
eat after vodka. What do you call those?
Oh yeah, you have the radishes and all that stuff. You have to always have something to chase her after vodka, and it's usually a food chaser. So here we filmed, and we didn't even tell the person here that we were filming in his house.
Chris.
But this is a very typical Russian gathering. It's called at the table, and Russians, this is like a very classical way for Russians to gather.
We were making all this noise. The guys downstairs would constantly be banging on the door, saying, "Keep it down. You guys are too loud."
Yeah. We were interrupted several times. Yeah, that was.
Have you ever heard of Attila?
So, have you ever heard of Attila? Here's where the Russian expert chimes in with Attila here, and he's heard of him. So this is like the little pan-Orthodox connection now that the Russians also have information on him. But before you know it, there's a little surprise, and again, this whole old lady thing was just like a random thought I had. Or Shamil dresses for some reason as an old lady. He's got this obsession with costumes and doing weird things. And that's a typical, Russian bag there that he has. There you go. Russians are always into their canned fish.
Well, we're all into theater, and we love theater and costuming, and we got to use it.
Yeah, Cyril actually had acted before a little bit, but in a theater group.
Pilatus was very good with the knives, though. I mean, throwing knives. Because that's a huge machete.
That was great.
Well, notice that you never see him actually throw the knife. That was all editing.
It was editing, but the way he was, he held it and he threw it.
Oh, this is the infamous letter.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is where Attila. This is kind of the seeds of what later on goes on with Attila. Here, he gets his ego with the rock and roll is so strong that he's got to perform no matter what, and that's what the Romanians kind of take advantage of because they know about that by researching him. So they kind of are calling him out to a place where they can out him, so to speak.
He was filmed in a French Brazilian restaurant.
I don't even know how we threw a Brazilian thing into the film.
Oh, you have to throw all the. Yeah, I mean, you
guess
all that.
we have to line up the party a little bit.
Astoria is
to spice it up.
Brazilians always like to party. So.
Well, it was amazing because
friends everywhere.
Billy here, he really knew a lot of people, and he was really good at asking them to contribute to the film, and that's how we got so many exciting locations here and people involved as well.
I can get you locations, man.
That was really great.
My old cell phone.
Yes.
The flip cell phone years.
So here's a very beautiful color here too. It was a very colorful place, and
we're live watching.
Yanni and Billy really picked very appropriate costumes, and it just really looks very colorful here. And a nice. This really turned out very beautiful. There's, by the way, Professor Philokoulos, but that's not in character in the background. There, he's just being an extra.
That's Patricia.
Yeah.
Another Brazilian girl friend. It's actually, I think they have Slavic ancestry too.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that. So that, by the way, that little map you just saw there, that was the Neo-Ottoman Empire that Attila wanted to build.
Did I say something in Brazilian there? I guess I got cut out from the film.
Yeah, it came in there.
Oh, it came in there?
Yeah, that was. This is where we see that Irina has been taken hostage. Irina's character, and they're she's kind of part of Attila's harem now. So here is the Ottoman Sultan recreating his habitual environment.
We're a bit less conventional.
And we can't get away from our cell phones even here. And
especially dressed in 17th and 18th century clothing.
Yeah, my mother was really good with costumes. These are all pretty much my mom's costumes, and she was very good at getting that together. There's some tea sets, all of this stuff that I have from my parents' collection of dishes and everything. I just put it all here.
It's amazing. You just did a setup like that. How long did it take you to do that setup?
Oh, a while. It took a few days to put it together. My mom was really great. She really had a very good taste for that kind of stuff because she knows culture and. She really was able to do a great job with getting a nice set together, getting good costumes together. That's the thing. You take advantage of everything you have, and my mom was really good at it, so it really worked out.
No, she was very creative as well too. Yeah, I mean, she's put on so many performances.
It's one of my favorite scenes with Billy. Actually, he
yes.
He tries to show like he's really like the boss, and
yeah, I mean, I think he was enjoying it.
Well, actually, I remember Billy really wanted to do a scene like this too when we were discussing the script. He's like, we got to do stuff in the harem. We got to do stuff in the harem.
Yeah,
so
it's more convincing, right? Yeah.
Right, and that's when we started, developing this kind of stuff, and it really worked out pretty nicely. It gave the film a very interesting touch.
Well, to be honest, I think his villainous side pretty much stole
the show. Yeah,
they stole the show. It's like we forgot that he actually is playing a good guy character as well. You pretty much forget about that because it was Attila acting in this film.
Yeah, Attila is definitely a little bit more colorful. Zeus is kind of more like this character who's, he's an admirable character, but he's got his weaknesses, and it's kind of Attila, meanwhile, is a little bit more spicy.
Yeah.
So, but hey, it's great. Billy got to play two roles, and
which was a challenge in the end. I mean,
absolutely. So here's Vlad about to make his heroic move.
Is that Lukumi there?
Yes, it is.
Pastries, yeah.
Yeah, what is commonly known as Turkish delight here in the United States. And here's a fight.
I think those scenes are the most difficult ones to shoot. The fighting scenes to make it. How do you?
There's Risto there. It's hard to do. It's hard to stage these scenes because you don't want to hurt anybody when you're filming them, and you want it to look convincing at the same time. So you're always trying to walk that fine line between making it look convincing and not hurting anybody and doing it safely. Because if you have more of a budget, you get a fight coordinator, you can even get stunt doubles, whatever. You can do a lot of stuff. But here we have to be careful not to hurt anybody and still entertain our audience.
Our guys are pretty tough, I think.
Yeah, no, that's the way it is. At the end of the day, we take chances. Yeah.
But there is room for improvisation. I mean, yeah, you can stage the whole thing, but sometimes actors they improvise. Fighting scenes.
Yeah, I mean, some actors are pretty brave, and actually, later on, Yanni does his own stunts here too. Here's a weightlifting bench that I never use, and we used it to chain Vlad here. One thing that people pointed out, which was really crazy, and I never thought anybody would catch on to this, was that you see over the entryway, there's dark. You don't see it here, but you'll see it in another shot. There are some dark markings from the candles that we take home on Russians take it home on Holy Thursday. And you can see there is a little cross. It's kind of upside down here in this shot, but it's up in the upper left-hand corner. And that's actually done for Easter when we bless parts of our house. And I didn't even realize people would catch on. And people would watch the fun and be like, "Oh, you do that too with the crosses?" I'm like, "Oh no, that wasn't. That's not supposed to be. That's not supposed to be in this film, right?" And I didn't even realize people would make that connection, and they did. It was so funny because Russians do it and Greeks do it. So
yeah, we do it. Yeah.
Here's a scene where there's the shashlik, that's the shish kebab, so to speak, right? And I remember I didn't have time to prepare one, so I just took bits of sausage, cut it up, and made it like that, and it was like a crappy shish kebab.
And no, he's not whipping him with a chain in reality.
No. He's whipping a pillow, and then, and again, all the sounds were made separately, so Billy and Christos would come over to my house.
Put on, it looked so good, though, in the scene.
How long did it take him to really, speak the language? I mean, we actually read it and make it sound Russian. And
well, this is what's interesting. Yeah, people don't understand that. Actually, what's funny about this is that the actor Vlad Klestov who played it, he had a very tough schedule too, so he couldn't come to dub, and Hristos had to dub him. And then what happened was that who was going to dub Hristo, right? Because he couldn't do a Chechnyan accent, and I did my best. So I ended up dubbing Shamil, and Hristos ended up dubbing Vlad. So you're actually hearing Chris's voice talking back at his character here. It's really funny.
Oh, so you were Shamil?
I was Shamil. Yeah, I dubbed Shamil's voice, and then Chris dubbed Vlad's voice. And the thing is that you can hear that Vlad's character speaks Russian here, and the problem is that Chris had to learn how to do a Russian accent. That took a lot of takes because his Greek is pretty good, but to do a Russian accent is still specific. And I was okay with it having a little bit of an American accent to it because Vlad's character was born in the States. So that worked out well.
Because did Russian, I did a little bit of Turkish.
Yes. Yeah, Billy did some Turkish.
We made all the props, newspapers, magazines, books.
Yeah, it was a one-man band. It was a one-man band with a lot of stuff. Billy really, it was like we all wore a lot of hats. That's the way it is when you're doing a film like this with no budget.
Oh, wait.
You know.
I got a plan. I think your boyfriend...
This is a great shot of Yanni Kalinotti here.
This is from Edgewater, right? New Jersey?
Yeah, Tatiana, yes, that's right.
Tatiana, yes.
That's a lovely apartment that we got to film in. That's great when you have friends that can give you such lovely locations for free. It's really nice. Here's a little musical ditty I wrote. I wrote a couple of small little pieces of music, but Billy's band Phoenix has a lot of stuff in here, and all of Billy's friends, they really
Phoenix Rain.
Get it. Yeah, Phoenix Rain. A lot of great music here. A lot of different composers and stuff.
Oh, you wrote stuff, Addy, Chris?
Well, I just wrote some ditties. My stuff was really small. But
I remember prior to incorporating your own music, I remember you were trying to add on some famous bands just to just to fulfill it.
Well, a temp track, temp track. I like the Rolling Stones and stuff.
I was like, I really hope you're not putting this in the film.
The Doors.
It would have been great.
Well, no, I kind of felt I knew I wasn't going to be able to use it. You have to use something when you're editing.
In most films, you do that as fillers.
Yeah, temp track. This is good. This is a really nice. This is one of my favorite scenes too. This is very beautifully filmed by yours truly here.
Yeah.
I'm not always fond of everything I do camera wise, but again, I had to be the DP here too. So it was a.
You really get to see Astoria, the greater Astoria area in New York in this film. You see everything. So many locations.
This is a real life musician, Themi.
A
very odd scene, but whatever.
It was actually our Phoenix trained engineer at the time.
Yeah, he's a good musician. Engineer, very nice guy, and this is so basically what's happening here is the pirate radio station gets busted, and Femi's playing the guy who was helping them set up in his father's warehouse, and he says that the feds came, and so now we're getting more and more clues of the fact that Attila's character is kind of involved in he's got moles in the whole federal system, and that's where the whole Hagar connection comes in. So we're getting signs of how influential Attila is more and more in here, which is causing a lot of disconcert to these people who are now kind of hot on his trail. And
No. I have to go home.
So here's the romantic problem here between Athena, Dimitri, and Zeus.
Right, Zeus always wants to go for coffee, but he ends up going alone.
Yeah, Zeus goes for coffee alone. He can't skirt with the girls here.
Can't get the girls, no.
Yeah, Dimitri's being such a good thing.
Only Attila gets the girls by force.
Yeah, Attila's the most successful of them all here. This is
another nice scene featuring a Russian house.
Oh, I had to paint my hair yellow for this scene, and it was painful because it took me several days. Most of that scene was on the editing room floor because I did a crappy job writing it.
Bonus tracks.
That's my old
SUV.
SUV.
You know what?
So this is definitely 2002.
This is about 4, I think we filmed.
No,
this is 4.
Is it 4?
Yeah, I know this is 4.
Because I know those sunglasses. I missed them. I was on a boating trip with some friends, and I looked down, and they fell in the water, and I lost them.
Very expensive prescription sunglasses. I returned my truck by 04.
Okay, so maybe it was 03. It's possible it was the end of 03.
That's how I remember the years when I returned my trucks and my cars and.
Oh yeah, we went through a few cars in this film, the duration.
So here, what's happening is that Drakon is making a pitch at Plato to kind of get back involved, and we don't really know what's underneath all of that until we see what's about to happen in this next scene.
So it's Club 23.
Club 23, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Sports bar, right?
Plato thought
The owner passed away.
Oh yeah,
unfortunately.
But it was Drakon that was.
This is a good filming location.
Very good
You're very lucky when you get to film at a colorful place like this. It was really nice. George Zellis helped us get this location. It was really, it was very colorful. And we spent quite a few days filming there, and during business hours, which is very unusual for a business to let you do, especially if you don't have insurance or anything. So
we even went back.
Oh yeah, we filmed a lot. We had to come back because again, a lot of scenes, were segmented. People couldn't come.
Yeah.
And so we were very lucky with this place. It was really a scorer in terms of that. And got good lighting there, everything.
Even some of these bartenders were actually metalheads too. They like metal and rock.
Zeus was eager to take his mind off Athena.
So here, what's going on is we see, Plato's trying to kind of make, play. Drakon's trying to play Plato here. Give him drinks,
but
give
obviously
him women.
I'm also worried about being a politician now. I'm saying, you know what, I should be careful what I do, what I'm basically like, how I present myself. I mean, that's how politicians are, I guess, these days.
Right.
Well, you have a better moral compass. Like, this is not The Sopranos where everything takes place in a strip club, but it's part of life for some people. And
I already dislike Drakon over here.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can see that.
You felt uneasy. Your character, something's not right with this politician. He might not be a good mentor for you.
Absolutely. So this is a tricky scene here, and that those of you who don't recognize him, that's Philokoulos there, who's dressed in drag, and Plato doesn't make the connection because Philokoulos is usually in glasses. And here's a little interruption that comes into play where we have our professor there.
With his cousin.
Who's a little crazier than he is and takes him to this little seedy establishment.
Who now has a successful business as well.
And here's where all of a sudden things start to get hellish.
I was wondering how long it would take you to realize you were about to get choked to death.
Well, it's a massage that he's being given, so he doesn't know. It's like, well, what's really happening?
There's no possible way I could have known by then.
This is John's best William Shatner impression.
You're telling me, guys, you gotta make it look like, how's this possible?
This is tough to film because, again, you don't want to hurt your actors at the same time you want to make it convincing, so...
He's getting choked.
Actually, I'm telling Alex, I was telling Alex in that moment, you gotta do it fast and hard. I said, you gotta make it look more realistic. I'm like, come on, pull a little bit.
Yeah, it was scary. There we go. This was tough. I really had to think carefully how not to hurt anybody.
And I did it very close. I came very close.
Yes, that was good. Well, that was done with the sound. That was done later with the sound.
Very close.
When Billy and Chris would come over to do the sound, we would get all these crazy punching sounds and stuff. So here's the chase sequence. Another difficult thing to do, especially since Alex
that is
was running.
That is me and Billy's most memorable scenes.
Yeah, we're running, and here's again John's sister.
Another sister?
Yeah, the same one that was in the initial video scene, and Billy's father.
Our families are all over this movie. That's the way independent films are done.
So here's a very impatient. Again, it's a Greek cab service here.
She played a perfect, the annoying passenger was perfect.
Notice the kind of shoes that Philokoulos is wearing here.
We were impressed.
Running on high heels, I mean, I understand.
Well, we ruined those high heels and that dress, and that belonged to Teresa Gaffney, who helped us out. And this is her block that we're actually filming on here. It's a very colorful little street here.
It's on 30th Avenue.
30th and Newtown Road. Yeah.
This is like you have like this little crazy band that's really doesn't have much talent.
Makes
going
no
for
sense
it.
Playing in the middle of the street.
We need to put musicians everywhere in this film.
And then we have a little accident.
It got dark.
A little accident.
And we were losing light here.
Yeah, this was filmed like I had to kind of pretend it was sundown.
That's Philokoulos' exit.
It was 4:43 going out to 4:50, and we were losing light because it's fall, right?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I remember. So here's again. We're back in Attila's lair here.
So Attila loses his good friend. Oh, sorry, not yet.
Well, no, he already loses him. I think we all know that at this point. But now we have a special character come in here who we'll find out in a minute what she's up to. And there's our Serbian prisoner in the lair, and coming in there with a Tommy gun. I always had an obsession with Tommy guns, so I was glad to get one for this.
We also
Real
made this
Tommy gun.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but close enough. Let's say.
And we also made that space rocket. We designed that. I designed that with Perry, my brother.
Yeah, that was a great rocket.
Yeah.
Put it together in
Space
our
rocket.
space rocket. We have a little sci-fi in this movie. You know, we want to be.
And you make her look nostalgic too. Give her that nostalgic look.
What's great?
1930s.
Was it one of the great things about this scene is when she comes to clip those chains. I remember Billy was commenting to me, he's like, "There's no way you need the jaws of life to break it open." I was like, "Well, I don't have them, so this is the best we're going to do. We're going to use this, and just hopefully the audience will suspend disbelief and think that she got him free with these crappy little clippers as opposed to like something serious."
This is the part when we want you to believe. It's make believe.
It's one of those poetic license things. We try to take it as far as we can.
Chris was shooting the fill light on her face.
So here we go. Here's Alex playing a dead man.
Or woman.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, whatever.
Right, and Vlad is slowly getting up here, not realizing exactly what's going on, why this woman is trying to help him out.
The assassin is dead.
Yeah, this is kind of like reminds me of Princess Leia when she goes to free Han Solo there.
Yes.
From Return of
the beautiful scene right there too.
Great acting here, guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Attila swears revenge.
It looks a lot like Erdogan in that shot.
I think Erdogan was just going into power in the Communist Party at that time.
Yeah, well, it was
2001.
when he was still getting coffee for people in the parliament, right?
Yeah.
Now this is difficult trying to get actual gunfire. Those were actual. I did actually fire bullets at those things, but after everybody left the set, of course.
And we hear some more Phoenix Rain from the album Destination Unknown.
That's right.
Which eventually became my other band, Porphyra, which went to Carnegie Hall with a rock opera.
Yep, these are all the roots of our creative life here.
Oh yeah. We use car dealers. This is Northern Boulevard.
Yeah, it was a car dealership. It's still there. It's a Toyota dealership.
Yeah, very nice.
And I remember. Yeah, it was very great to get stuff like this. It's so hard to get it usually unless you know the right people. And Billy knew the right people.
I wonder if this car's still in production.
When was this filmed?
This is filmed on in Bayside, I think, right
Bayside.
on Northern Boulevard in Queens here. Yeah.
It was filmed.
Right, the Clearview. You know the dealers are there.
Hey, thank you.
So Vlad gets liberated here by Anna. And we find out that she's Bulgarian, but she has ties to the Romanian anti-terrorist task force. So here again, there's this Pan-Balkan combination here that manages to get involved in our story. Here's a hot wiring job, which I had no idea how cars were hot wired, so I just had to kind of hope that people would believe that she managed to find a way of doing this, and not at the same time have anybody notice in the dealership that something was going on. You know, because people always get into cars in dealerships and they want to check them out and do stuff, and you know, these two shady-looking people get in there, and I guess the showroom's pretty busy at this time, so nobody notices what they're doing in the car.
Anna made her escape, but her team was not as lucky.
And so here, Hagar is trying to get closer to the Romanians here, and that's an actor I knew. Was an investment banker turned actor at that moment.
From the local Romanian Orthodox Church.
And here's our Romanian agent who appeared previously in the beginning of the film there on the TV show.
Hello.
Here is interviewing potential replacements.
I think there's some romance a little bit developing there. So.
No, exactly. I don't think there was a romantic connection. It was just him just interviewing people and trying to see how dedicated they were to the Romanian cause to recruit them into action here. So here's the big steal. This is the big moment where a car actually gets hot, and I love this is the actual owner of the establishment who acted in this. And there's this one other friend of Christo Polatos, Steve Beltejas, who actually dubbed him.
Hey, where you going over there?
He gave it that nice Queen's accent. And there's actually the Queen's Public Library that's doubling as an anti-terrorist, the American Federal Anti-Terrorist Agency.
How far did she drive off of that car?
Not even an inch. Hardly an inch. So here's Hagar again. Hagar's now in his American office interviewing Vlad. So this is kind of like a really Hitchcock stuff here, you know, where you have someone in on it, kind of North by Northwest, which I had actually seen during the making of this film, and I got inspired by. So that went into the plot.
I gave her my phone number, and she said.
And Vlad, by the way, is wearing a World War II era GI jacket. It's something my father had for years, and
GI jacket.
Yeah, it's a World War II era GI jacket.
We'll get you some more coffee.
A real one.
Yeah, a real one. That's right. They're actually really good in the winter. I once wore it in 10-degree weather, and it was really good. It has a really good,
very good condition.
Yeah.
Excellent.
There's that great laugh.
Yeah, his laugh is really priceless.
To the right
There's old fax machines and everything. Yeah, I mean, this office was kind of a little bit of a hack job, I think, art direction wise. But it kind of. I wish I hadn't put all those stickers there. It looked a little bit too overdone. But
cord phones.
Yeah. But it's still, this is supposed to be like, this is the problem. Like, Hagar's working in this anti-terrorist agency, an American anti-terrorist agency, and that's how he all of a sudden gets to manipulate the situation.
You see the scene now? He recognizes that.
Yeah, he hears Attila's voice.
That he hears Attila's voice, and he's like, "Uh-oh,
he's got to get out of here."
Go.
So now we switch over to the romantic interest here, right?
Actually, I love that scene. It was beautiful.
Oh, here we go.
This is where he gets in trouble for double time. Again, seeing people behind her back.
I just love his voice, actually.
That's my mother playing his date. So this is Maria Psama, and that's over there. You'll see that's my mom sitting there in front of him.
Like the way he changes his tune.
There's my mom. Well, Mila Selinsky. There we go.
Do not
proud
call.
moment. Do not call. That's right. She's. I noticed a little fishy in the back of him too. That was a cute little.
How he always appears in all the cafes and restaurants.
I noticed. Speaking of appearances, there's me in the back there, right next to Daphne, wearing glasses so nobody would recognize me.
That was like your second appearance in the film.
Yeah, that's me with my beard and everything. And
Telly's Taverna, the old Telly's.
That was a play we actually staged with them. George.
Yeah, the photograph there is from an Oedipus play that Vasilis Roban and I did at a Greek parochial school
in Jamaica, Queens. Yeah,
that's right, which no longer exists.
No, it doesn't. It had closed down. Like what is it, 3 years afterwards? Not sure, but see, the interesting part of that school was that all the players, I mean, the actual characters in that particular play were not Greek 100%. They were from.
And Billy here.
The spider, yes. The spider.
So is this poem from Cavafy?
Yeah. No.
Or
it's actually
Elitis. Alchemist. Is it the Odyssey, right?
Yeah, it was some little thing that I put together when I was young. Okay, very, very young, and it was inspired supposedly.
And here you can obviously see Daphne, who she actually finally fell for.
Not the actual poem.
That's right.
In the film.
Inspired,
inspired.
But it's like having about
young.
Odysseus.
Yeah, it was very young. It was like a little corny, but anyway, I thought, why not?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, look, there he is.
This is my upper floor, and this is the great hat. Everybody always comments about that hat. It was just. I think we always had this thing where we wanted to put funny hats on people.
Yes.
This is another scene.
Yeah, problem.
I love hats.
This one actually one of my favorite moments, believe it or not.
Yeah,
it's a great scene. It's a great scene.
It is a great scene, yeah.
This is where you want to take control of your fate.
And this is filmed. This is that picture from the girly club.
Yes, and this what ruined me. So I'm done with the politics now, and I'm like, now I'm taking another angle to what I want to do.
That's right. Violence is the only answer. There
Violence
we go.
is the only answer, and that was a quote you wanted me to use.
That's
no
right.
matter what.
That's right. I said that's an excellent requirement. So there's a nice cowboy-style lever-action rifle, and the little sticks of explosives here. So Plato's really starting to go into renegade mode here.
Gung ho.
Yes, and this is a great job that Billy did with Hellenizing my room in my house. We kept the same icons that I have up there, but everything else became very Greek all of a sudden. And so here we see Athena is kind of going off into her own world, wanting to kind of split off and do her own thing, kind of go into the mainstream world of stability. And meanwhile, these two guys here are deciding to become real fighters for the Hellenic Revolution here against Attila. So that's the tension here. This is one of the last scenes I think we filmed with Daphne. And there's Mr. Zoba there in my car.
He's all like mellow and cool now because he got Daphne now, so he's like mellow mood.
Athena is all his. And
Athena's all his, and he's in the mellow mood now.
That's right. So, and here's again that lovely line: "Violence."
And he did not want Billy to show the gun.
That's right.
Violence is the only.
Because he's exposing everything here, and he's like, "What are you, crazy?"
Don't joke around with that, okay? It's for my nephew.
Yeah, it's a toy. It's a toy gun for your nephew. There you go. That was a nice.
I wasn't gonna do it crazy, but this?
This is it. Athena's had it now. This is where Zeus just totally goes into renegade mode, and meanwhile, Dimitri there is just
dancing to bazooka.
That's right, just chilling out.
But we got it covered.
So he's trying to cover up, and then Zeus is still blowing it off, blowing the cover here. He's saying, "We're going to go out and just go into violent mode here."
When I told you about you.
And here's where Athena suggests this is the last thing that she gifts them. She gives a connection to the Armenian community, which now is Plato's last hope of getting out there in the open about Attila. So this is where this was a helpful lead. And Athena kind of goes off into her own world anyway. She's kind of not interested in staying along on this journey with them, but whatever. That was kind of the last thing she gave him, and Zeus has to accept that he's not going to have her. And bye, she's out of here.
Yeah, bye.
So here we go, back at the Romanian anti-terrorist task force. Things are kind of coming close. We're getting closer. We're getting closer to Attila here. We're trying to perfect the sting operation that these guys are putting together. It's Adam Lafaci. Wasn't Romanian. He had some Spanish and Italian origin, but again, that's close enough to Romanian. So he looked very convincing. He looks very Romanian actually. And Mr. Tepesh here, named after Vlad Tepesh, of course, is.
That was just coincidence.
Things are all coincidental here. Of course,
he's one of my heroes, and I'm sure John and you guys, Vlad Dracula, the Impaler, was a hero.
Still didn't have Anna's backup team in place.
So again, it's a complicated plot. So these scenes all really help bring it together. That and the narration, and it was really amazing. These actors were actually some of the best people we worked with in the whole film. So back at Zeus's apartment here, we're making the Armenian connection, and here the Armenian Digest finally publishes an article about Attila. So finally, somebody learns about the presence of this crazy character. There's Aram Prasekian, who helped us get that lovely location. And here Attila is doing a little crazy song. This is the only thing in Turkish in the whole film. I had to go online and figure out how to do that. I had to kind of come up with the Turkish lyrics. I probably made some serious mistakes there, but this is before Google Translate, so it's probably even worse than a Google Translate thing. And so here we go. There's that festival that Attila is going to, and you can see he's been following the news and trying to keep track of things. That's actually my Russian Orthodox parish. And this was actually filmed at a Russian event in another Russian parish. And all these people were in it. This is the traditional Russian blini ceremony. It's these crepes that we make right before Easter. It's kind of like a Fat Tuesday.
I'm getting hungry now watching this.
Yeah, we got the caviar. And that's a clergyman here who actually has some Greek heritage as well. And so Vlad is actually sending messages here, and he's trying to. He's on the loose now. Vlad. He finally broke loose from Hagar. And now he's trying to kind of ask for help and saying that somebody's following me. So that's what's going on here. And you see, this is all filmed during an actual Russian event. And these are Russian dances, and I don't believe I was able to film there. It was really cool. And we actually got real Russian dances on film here as they were happening. This wasn't staged or anything like that. That was actually really happening, documentary style filming. And here Hagar is telling him he has to leave immediately, and Attila is being very disobedient. He's being a bad boy. He wants to play at this rock concert, and that's what's going to. This is where the sting that the Romanians have put together is going to come to a head. We use a lot of dry ice in the film, and I also learned that dry ice doesn't keep very well, so Billy had to keep getting it.
And now the Armenian press, out of Hagar's reach, was exposing him. The time had come to pack up the harem.
So see, Shamil's happy that they got press, and Attila's like, "What, are you kidding me? This is horrible. We have to leave right away. We've been outed, so we have to actually get out of here." But we're going to play the concert anyway.
They're bumbling. You can't get good workers sometimes, and Attila gets
can't get good help, right?
Good help, yeah.
Well, that's one of the tricks here, because you see the thing is there are two sides that are against Attila, but they're not exactly at this point coordinated, so that's where things get complicated.
This is one of the catchphrases coming up.
That's right. Coming with me to Istanbul.
We actually use that in the trailer.
Yeah, this was one of the first lines that came into the film from the trailer directly, I remember. And by the way, Billy got that bong, too. This is right before the whole bong mania hit.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not. It's called Argile.
Yeah.
What's it in Greek?
It's a
It's a hookah, right? Bong is pot. That's
right.
That's illegal. We don't do that.
Well, actually, they do exist in Athens. I mean, in some cafes, you would actually go there and try it out.
I remember Billy spent like $100 and something bucks buying that thing, and he went and he bought it for the film.
I got it from a Lebanese supermarket in Astoria.
That's with his dry ice, I guess.
Yes. So here's an Armenian center, a lovely place in Woodside, and we decorated this, and we were filming here about at least 5 times. I don't know how they tolerated us all that time, but Adam was really great, and Mariam and other people.
Weren't they playing some kind of musical thing to it in the background at the time?
Yeah, there was a band that came to rehearse, and they were nice enough. They allowed us to film them in the background. But here Attila's coming to the wrong place, and the Romanians purposely set him up here. So it's kind of here he is driving through Flushing Main Street, a little bit lost. And by the way, to the right there is one of our super extras, Maria Kousulas, who is in about 400 different scenes from different poses. And we had a lot of Armenians there. That was cool.
Armenians are practically cousins to the Greeks.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
They're very close with the Russians, and we always feel a very strong kinship with Armenians. And we actually got to film with the Armenian community, Armenian centers. They were very hospitable, and we want to do more with them.
Absolutely. So if anybody who's Armenian and listening, know that we'd love to film with you.
Yeah.
There's Natalia doing a very emotional scene. This was very interesting because I really got to see professional actors work at their best here. This was very good interplay with these actors.
And the cross.
That's right.
That unites all of us.
The Orthodox cross.
There's Chris.
Yeah, I actually had to dub Chris. Billy initially dubbed him, and the voice was too comical. And then we were running out of time, so I decided to dub him, and I faked the Greek accent. So that was my best shot at a Greek accent. It took a lot of takes for me to get it, but I think I was fairly convincing.
She did wind up interfacing with Zeus.
So, allow me to introduce to you. And here's where there's a surprise. I mean, here's where Plato comes in to do his big speech. I remember I wrote a lot of speeches for you, Yanni. Remember? You were always getting speeches from me to say.
Oh, yes. And they were very long. And every time I would sit there, I'm like, oh my God, I have to memorize all this in one shot? I was like, and you're like, yes.
Then you have to dub all of it later.
And you only had 1 take or 2 takes to do this, you told me.
Yeah, the film was very expensive, so it's not like video now. So Yanni had to come up there, and he did a great job. He didn't always memorize his lines because he was working, and he'd come to the set after work, and he'd be very tired. He'd work 10-hour days and whatever.
And I remember a few times I had to improvise a few words here and there because I would sit there and forget maybe 1 or 2 words. I'm like, uh-oh. I think I better use something that's very close to that.
Yeah. Well, we fixed it up in the editing and everything. And here's where the big magic connection comes, where Attila, who has been purposefully misguided by the Romanians, because they have their agent there sitting there in the audience now with Zeus over there.
Oh, yes. Me and Attila finally...
Yes, collide in person.
Yeah, finally.
This is about to come.
This took forever, pretty much, in the film, and finally we face each other.
Billy there wasn't a smoker, and the actress there, Yana Gunova, she was a smoker, so that worked out well.
Ottoman terrorist Attila the Turk hiding out right here in Queens?
So here's Dr. Suzanos already working back for the cause. And by the way, Vasilis Roba is also an extra in this scene.
Yeah, you can see my back all the way back. Rarely.
Right here in our community. But much too often, the voices of our communities are disregarded.
The Attila operation was top.
So here's the big magic moment.
Even the host Armenians did not know any details.
We have Attila coming to the Armenian Center to perform because he thinks it's a rock concert.
Aram is confused.
Yes, Aram is confused because he thinks it's the Armenian band that's running late, and it's actually not. And that's where things get confusing. That's where this whole there's Vasily in the background. And now we're expecting an Armenian band to come on stage, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, here is our key villain who's about to come on stage.
And now I've been asked to introduce your entertainment.
Our entertainment in this evening.
One of Yerevant's favorites.
And unexpectedly, here we are. Attila shows up to the Armenian Center, having no idea
and I'm a total
where
shock.
he really is.
This is one of our action sequences.
Yeah, it's about to come up as a crazy action sequence.
Much like what happened in New York a few days ago. This is a huge snowstorm that happened that we were filming there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The snowstorm was over a foot and a half of snow, actually.
Oh yes, there's Panayoti there knocking him down.
I remember shooting this specific.
I guess that's a little. That's WWE.
Yes.
Yes, my Greek friends are all big wrestling fans. So
and
he
is a wrestler.
this.
And Jose is a wrestler, Mr. Adams. Oh,
here you go. This is you against you. That's it.
Against me.
No. Here is where I finally.
This George is one of the best scenes you filmed. It's very. I mean, the hallway sequence is awesome.
I actually was always pretty upset at this. I thought I could have done a better job at it, but it was very difficult to do, and I guess we got it done, which was good. It took a lot of thinking to do it, but that's one of the things you learn. It was the first feature I directed, so you kind of get a lesson on a lot of stuff.
Very artistic.
And St. Gregory the Illuminator.
Yes, St. Gregory the Illuminator. Yes,
he totally
he's the main Armenian saint.
Because these are all of Attila's ancestors there fighting with the Armenians. It was about minus 10 outside.
Yeah, that was very cold. It was cold. That was so cold. I was like, I couldn't wait to get back inside.
I think it snowed another day, or maybe it was later that evening. I'm not sure, but we filmed
there
there
were
for a
days
while.
when there were snowstorms. It was crazy.
The Greek Federation and the Armenian Federation were we filmed a lot of scenes.
They were the lifeboat for us.
I remember very clearly trying to tell you, George, you got to hurry up in this scene. It's too cold.
No, nobody had it as bad as Daphne though in that corridor scene. That was the worst. That girl, I'm surprised she didn't die of pneumonia afterward.
At top of the Democratic Club, the Aldos.
Yeah, the Aldos Democratic Club was a great place. They were so nice and so many things we got to film there.
Now Teleslovena has become the first whole floor. It's a different area, but it's still that's the side yard.
There's a rocket. Getting its
our special effects. Oh, coming up soon.
And here we go. This is Soli, Chemical Soli, getting beaten up. And everybody else thinks it's a show, so they're laughing. They think it's a comedy. And here's Samil patrolling Attila as he's about to take off in his rocket, right? Because Attila realizes he's been kind of had here, and he's got to take off.
Chris and John are perfect in this. It's Hogan and Ric Flair. Who is this? The wrestling part.
So here Attila takes off, and here are our sophisticated special effects team here working on getting Attila to be a convincing flyer. This is filmed right in front of Billy's house, actually.
Doesn't put George Lucas to shame.
Right.
There's Maria. Yes, Lucasfilms was calling us and asking us how we did this. Not. There's Nonika Zandros.
It's George Dionisiou.
Yeah, great playing the Greek TV station there. And I remember this scene very well because Billy got this very nice car from one of his friends. And,
family friend, yeah?
He was debating whether we should wash the car before we film because it was winter and, it gets salted and everything. And I was like, no, we don't have any time. And then all of a sudden I saw all the salt in the shots afterwards. I was upset, but nobody really noticed it. So
you'll see we have a lot of cars in this film, and there's some fancy cars coming up too.
Yeah. So this is a graphic that I did later on, and
now.
See, so Anna is basically she's got a sophisticated global tracking device which is supposed to find where Attila is flying to, and so that's where this kind of chase scene is. So here's here's one of my favorite scenes with Yanni. My favorite lines probably in the whole film.
You always do quote it.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite lines in the whole film. This is one of the last shots we actually filmed with Yanni.
It's Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi line.
It's a Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi line. Yeah, it's where the Greek reporter is trying to talk about Attila finally. And Plato here is finally happy that he gets some media exposure and he can talk about the dangers of Attila, which everybody's ignoring in the American media because Attila's in, he has people in the American system that are working it to his advantage.
When some things make the news and others don't. Thank God for Greek television.
There we go.
You may be our only hope.
Thank God for Greek television. Maybe our only hope. That's
all you wonderful Greek journalists that always say the truth. You cover everything, and you actually support us as well.
There you go. That was a great moment because it's just about the fact that this alternative media that comes out and brings the truth. It's a very common theme in our daily lives. What media reports, what it does not, and that's one of the things that the film touches on a lot. We talk about this bias in media that happens and things that happen concerning our own, issues and everything, and how we don't get a fair hearing a lot of times. And that's what this film talks about. That's one of the themes about it. That it's about. There we go. Computers fail.
My transmitter.
And that's where things go bad, of course.
I'm sorry.
This was filmed right around Christmas in Manhattan. I remember.
The tracking device was wiped out.
Hey, you want to go for coffee, though?
Attila and Hagar had to make
go for coffee. There it is. So here we are in Drakon's apartment. Drakon now is a prisoner of the same man that he had to help. Was disappointed that he didn't get him enough of everything he asked for, his big Christmas list.
I love this scene too.
Yes, also filmed in Hristo Palatos' apartment.
Attila was expecting.
Liberator, what does he think about human rights violations? Like what you're doing to me?
Yeah, human rights violations, there it is. So, human rights.
Go to work, girls.
Talking about all the things that are uttered in politics, but, the double standards and everything that we all endure.
I enjoy this type of treatment.
See, I told you you'd get a nice surprise.
And here's Drakon's weakness, women. That's it. That's how. That's kind of what does him in here. In a sense, it's kind of a punishment for him. A little piece of hell. So Attila safely made it to an intermediate halfway place here, and now he has to continue on to the barge. It's going to take him back to Turkey. And so here's the next morning.
Ship's leaving in an hour. Are you sure you want to...
Are you sure you want to fly?
Fly?
So Attila has to turn away his pleasures here because he has to continue on his mission to go back to Turkey.
This precious cargo
and he's going to use the backpack-powered rocket to get to that barge. So he realizes he's going to take this girl with him, and that's what also is going to make things a little bit more complicated.
I think even the girl that was on bed with him, she was also like a recording artist. We have a lot of musicians, singers, actresses.
Irina,
no, the black girl too.
The African girl. Yeah, absolutely. She was
a hip-hop artist.
She was an artist. So this is filmed in front of my church again. The Russian Scouts. I came from the Russian Boy Scouts, and that's how I put that into the film as part of my background. There's Attila's rocket flying across the sky. Again, not the best special effects, but here's the news finally reporting there was a UFO sighting. That was actually Attila flying over there. There's Vlad sitting in a basement.
He was finally free.
Still kind of hiding out, still afraid that the feds are going to get him because the feds have Attila's people in there. And all of a sudden, he's kind of he's discovered by Masha, one of the Russian Girl Scouts. He's really happy to see him.
Hey! I see I no longer repulse you.
What happened?
We have plenty of time to talk about it.
So what's happening here is
you were missing.
It wasn't even noticed that he was missing. So this is filmed in a forest. That's my cousin Nicholas there, playing a Russian Boy Scout. He was actually also in the Scouts for a bit. So a lot of these people were in Russian Scouts or in Russian youth organizations, and so we just kind of plopped that into the film, part of our past there. Marching through the woods, which is what Scouts always do. Going to their meeting place where they have, Russian Scouts always combined, our ethnic culture, our orthodoxy, and scouting, which was a great combination. So here's where Attila lands together with his Serbian captive, who he wrapped into a carpet, and he finally crash lands right next to missing the barge that he was supposed to actually land on. And so coincidentally, this is the same exact place where the Russian Scouts happen to be conducting their hike. That's one of the problems when you're writing these scripts. You have
Coincidentally.
to, yeah, you have to have some coincidences happen to make things wrap up. So here we are, and his captive finally gets loose. Here's her chance to escape.
This was shot first, and this is the ending of the film almost.
This is 2003, right? No, 2002. This was filmed also when it was getting ready on the Nippy side. We must have filmed in this park again at least 5 times.
We filmed the end kind of first, like a lot of movies are also done.
Yes, the security guards really hated us because we'd always leave after the park would close, and they'd always curse at us when we were on our way out.
This place also doubled up as Northern Cyprus.
Yeah, this was the same location we filmed for Cyprus, right? Yeah.
You guys are so slow.
So this is cool. It shows a little a picture of Russian life here in America, as we see glimpses of Greek life, and it's very cute.
So here's the big confrontation. We see a Russian cross here because a lot of times the scouts would put up some kind of a monument or someplace where they would regularly have their meetups. So that's exactly what's going on here. This is their usual place of where they would meet up and talk about history and everything. And they see this lovely girl here, who is the Serbian girl who just shows up from nowhere. And now all of a sudden this weirdo comes out here, and the problem is that he's not alone. So he's trying to figure out what's going on here and what to do. So children, what to do? And here are the older scouts, and the scouts would always have the younger scouts would be sent marching forward, and the adults would, see how they would do on their own, and then so that's what's happening. The adults are kind of joining up with the youngsters here.
Life's greatest ironies are also the sweetest.
So Attila doesn't have any weapons, and what do you got to do in this situation?
Professional of agents, but now he was confronted by the Russian Boy Scouts, unarmed and without Hagar's
Grunts.
So Billy had to fake a limp here too because he fell previously. He had his crash landing, so he's got to be a little injured. And Vlad just sends off his buddies there to take care of the dirty work for him while he sees his Serbian captive again that he did time together with in Attila's lair.
I remember I had an injury myself when I was doing all this running. I had a rotator cuff injury. I had a torn rotator cuff.
Oh, really?
Half, yeah. So a lot of the running and jumping over trees, I was in pain. But it was good.
Yeah, no,
good
this
times.
is really cool.
This is one of my favorite, actually. Everything is my favorite from Attila. A lot of good scenes.
This is done upstate, right?
I
no,
fell through
this is Long Island.
Long Island. I'm sorry.
Look, right there, I fell right through a thorny.
Oh, yeah, I have a take. I have a take where Billy stops all of a sudden, and you hear the audio. He says, "I can't go anymore." It's because he ran into a thorn bush.
I'm stuck, and it's painful. Oh, there you go, my rotator cuff. Nice.
Oh man, you have it on
no
film.
Stunt doubles.
That's right. If you weren't the producer, you could have sued.
Nick just jumps off.
Yeah.
After he climbs on it. Here again, the light. We're losing light, so we had to do this very, very fast. Get this action sequence happening. George is like, bite him. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'll tell which is bite.
That's right. He's a beast at this point.
Beast. It's Chris's dad. Pilatos' dad.
Yeah.
Doing camera work.
So here's where finally there's a big to-do that Plato organizes for Attila to be presented to the world, basically. He is his captive. He made a citizen's arrest. And now he got the Greek press here, which was kind enough to give him a say. And now he's getting as much media presence as possible, and he can make his political career on this. That's kind of what he's banking on. He's exposing a threat and fully unaware of what's about to happen to him now.
When they see what we have achieved and what we're fighting for,
This part was Theo's and Theo's basement, the furniture store.
True.
Astoria. Yes.
Yeah. Do they still have the store?
I don't think so.
They closed it
Probably
down.
not, right?
No,
they sold it.
It's because
Wow.
At the parking lot.
I have no idea.
So here's me doing my fake Greek accent again with Christos Fanako.
Dionysius Pilarinos is doing the interview there.
Thank you.
Dionysius actually dubbed a lot of people too.
Yeah,
He dubbed your father. He dubbed.
Looks like a Greek actor.
Yes,
He does, yeah.
Although he can also pass for a Serb easily.
Serb, yes. Okay. That's Chrissy.
So here's some interesting. My mom made these banners, including the Byzantine or Jerusalem banner, which is really cool. And then Billy has his Hellenic front banner underneath.
the Salinum, chart sons of the Hellenes, it says. Macedonian star, the star of Regina is right
Very
on top.
autocratic there with my, talk, stop talking, stop cheering.
This is filmed when it was really cold outside.
Really cold.
There's a little Romanian flag there too.
I was freezing with that little jacket on.
That's a traditional Romanian hat.
Yes.
For all that we hold sacred.
Serbian flag.
The evil that threatens our peaceful lives. I invite you inside to see and behold our victory over this evil.
Chris is doubling as a serb there too again.
Oh, there's Jerry Fragia and so we'll see in a minute what's happening here.
Who dubbed his voice?
I actually dubbed Jerry here.
Okay.
Yeah, Jerry was also a very busy guy, so I did his voice.
The Chian Federation Astoria.
Yes, this is a very interesting place. This is where actually I met everybody, all of my Greek friends, right here in this very place.
The Battle of Chios.
The battlefields, yeah.
It's a lovely painting, and I remember Alex Doulos at the time was there, and he was a great guy, very inspiring guy, and
he helped us get the place. And
he got the location, and it's just a wonderful person all around. I remember he was really great.
Okay, Mr. Veronis.
So here's where this is a Fed here now telling Plato that he has to take Attila into custody, that he can't, that Plato did something illegal, and that the feds are going to come and scoop and take Attila right now.
What do you remember about this scene, John?
Security matter. And the reason why there's no press here is because
This was too. It was intense, actually. There's a lot of time. This scene. This was one of the longest scenes that we filmed, I think. Because I mean, sitting there in front of the crowd in the end was like a long. That was a long speech I had to make.
Yeah. This is your pivotal moment in the film. It's coming up.
How about some Greek coffee?
This is the Greek coffee thing, because some people call it Turkish coffee, and it's like, how about some Greek coffee?
It's Marina, one of our Armenian friends.
There's my cousin Nicholas right there, restraining Attila. But Yanni, this is some of the best acting you did in the whole film, right here.
Everybody, upstairs.
And we filmed this already later into the film, so Yanni had really gotten his chops up there with acting, and he really shone here very nicely.
Let's go.
Serene.
So Attila's being scooped up by the feds here, and this is where it's there's Pericles.
I'm not too happy about it either, though.
Yeah,
obviously.
So Attila's being taken away, and Plato can't have his shining moment here with Attila exposing him to the world, and he's upset.
I wanted to bring him on stage as a
captive, right?
As my captive.
Tell everybody about it.
Hey! Don't I get a receipt?
That's right, I always get a receipt. That was a very beautiful piece of music. I think, I don't want to make a mistake about who composed it, but it was really nice.
On behalf of the Federation, we introduce the new leader of the United
The new leader, Plato.
Plato Veronis.
Or Plato in Greek. So here we have all of the main characters here. We're now part of this new coalition against Attila here, and Plato comes to make his big presentation without Attila all the same. Let's have a clergyman there.
To begin, on behalf of our entire community, as well as the civilized world, I would like to thank our young heroes, a truly multinational Orthodox coalition, for capturing this Attila beast, closing down his neo-Ottoman shop of terrors, operating in the alleyways of New York.
Unfortunately, this neo-Ottoman shop of terrors has restarted.
Yes, again, the film has a lot of prophetic elements in it.
15 years later, and everything's new again. What we tried to bring was all these different communities that usually wouldn't be together, even though they are Orthodox. I know. We tried to get everybody together. So we can do things together.
I remember poor Yanni here. His suit suffered because when we put the rocket on him,
he ripped it.
Yeah, it was accidentally. There was a part of the rocket that ended up ripping his suit. Poor guy.
As the Hellenic front flag with the logo eventually evolved into my band Porphyra's logo. because it symbolizes a modern Byzantium, and the ancient spirit of Greece is part of it. There's a new future.
There you go. Actually, this was one take. This guy did it in one take. This is.
Allow me to express my deepest gratitude and respect to the brave young people who stand up to terrorists, primitives who are not capable of such advanced.
So here's kind of the concluding moment here. Attila's been released. He gets to go home, so to speak. Well, to another place, as we'll see in a minute. Thanks to Hagar. So this sets things up for a continuation of the story. And this here was filmed. Billy and I went to Moscow, right, Billy?
That's right. We were in Moscow, and that's St. Basil's Cathedral in the background. We filmed. This was very, very, very hard to film there, and we actually managed to do it with some of your friends that helped us with the shoot, and it was an amazing experience.
What happened to everyone?
So here's the kind of a little recap that was done to do what happened afterward to every
We had so many characters we had to explain, just like in all the films.
This was filmed during a blizzard, by the way. This was filmed when we were buried about over a foot of snow. Yanni made it to film there.
He's running for Congress.
So your character, Yanni, ends up running for Congress anyway.
But it ended when she ran off to Greece to become an actress.
So there you go, a little bit of
reality.
He's an actress.
He tried to produce a musical version of the 300 movie.
This was filmed during Theophany.
Although I ended up producing of the 988 Vladimir musical.
Soli died of internal bleeding after Dr. Suzanos attacked him in the Armenian club. I hope he has a good lawyer.
That is Theophany, yes.
Shamil was arrested and deported back to Chechnya. Drakon was implicated in a prostitution ring and lost his political influence.
So Drakon still keeps getting in trouble, essentially.
Yes.
Some things never change.
Now, without the help of Drakon, was transferred to Alaska.
By
It's the
Hagar.
closest state to Russia.
That's right, that was the Sarah Palin joke there. That was turned in. And here it ends with Billy's father, Yanni, driving the cab. That's a beautiful shot.
It is.
And here we have a list of all the wonderful people that were in the film. And it was really amazing when you just look at how many people participated.
Jubilee, yeah.
I know my band was part of that.
How many were in total?
Over 100.
Over 100 people. Over 77 locations, 100 people. This is a huge, huge project. This film was basically a community film involved project. Like many communities.
Absolutely. It was lots of fun, and the greatest thing was that, we were working together. It was very difficult. It took a lot of time to do everything. Much longer than we thought it would take originally. A lot of more money than we thought it was going to take originally, and it really strained us on many levels. But it was done, and it sets the background for future work, which is great. We met some wonderful people here, and we had some very good times doing it. And hopefully you've enjoyed this film. I mean, maybe not everybody gets everything in it. It's like any other film, it will have its weaknesses, but hopefully you enjoy the spirit of what we all did here for you.
Perhaps one day Attila returns. Yes, to see more Attila's revenge.
Yes, absolutely. I think we can certainly continue doing this. It depends on how much free time everybody here has. But
I always dreamt of Attila coming back. Darth Vader has to come back one way or another. He's a great villain. It's really interesting to see what Attila will do next, and what all the other characters, how they're going to confront him, and how they're going to defeat him again. Can Attila be defeated?
Yes.
That is the question.
Yes, there is.
So here we have the end in three languages: English, Greek, and Russian.
Delos and
Koniec.
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 Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the film, the commentary, with Johnny Erasulis, George Zelinsky, Vasilios Orbas, and myself, Vasilios Chrysochos.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for watching. Please spread the word if you like this.